Hey everyone, this is Jordan from Sleeklens.com, and in this video I'm going to show you a real quick and easy way to brighten teeth and whiten teeth in Photoshop. So this is going to only include 2 adjustment layers, and I actually recommend you creating an action for this so in the future you can easily just play the action and start painting in the effects. So if you want to create the action, you definitely can. All you have to do is go up here to Window, go to Actions, and I'm going to click this little button down here that says create a new action, and I'm going to call this Teeth, and I'm going to click Record. So now what it's doing is just going to record all of the steps I do to this photo, and then I can play it back later to apply the actions. So the first adjustment layer we need to do is actually a hue saturation layer. So I'm going to go down here and I'm going to click here and apply the hue saturation adjustment layer. And the only adjustment I'm going to do to this layer is actually just take the saturation down. I'm going to take it all the way down, pretty much, not definitely down to no color at all, but I'm going to leave a little bit of room there, but for the most part it's going to be very desaturated. And you can see that it's affecting the whole image. Obviously we don't want to do that. We're really just paying attention to the teeth right here. We're looking at the color of the teeth, and that's all we're paying attention to, because then we're going to paint in the effect where we want it. So I know it's affecting the whole image right now. We'll worry about that in just a second. So now the second and last adjustment layer we're going to do is actually a levels layer. So I'm going to go over here to levels. And what I'm going to do is play with the black, midtone, and white sliders. So the black, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to zoom into the teeth here. I'm looking for black parts in the gaps in between the teeth, the lines in between the teeth. So I'm going to click the black and just pull that up a little bit, not too much. So right around there, that's just darkening a little bit of that gap there. Now I'm going to take the white slider and I'm going to drag that over to start brightening the teeth and giving that little white color there. Okay. Now I'm going to play with the midtones and just see what kind of effect I get here. I don't want to blow it out too much on the left side, so I'm going to go roughly around here. All right, so those are my adjustment layers. So now what we want to do is actually group these together. That just makes it really easy and clean. So I'm going to highlight both of these layers. I'm going to go down here to the folder icon, and I'm going to put them in a group, and now I'm just going to label this teeth. So there we go. So the last thing I want to do before I stop my action is I want to create an inverted layer mask. So typically when you create a layer mask on this folder, you just click the layer mask button down here and it creates a white layer mask. I don't want to do that. I actually want to have a black layer mask. So I'm going to undo that, and I'm going to go down here, and before I click the layer mask, I'm going to click Alt or Option, hold that down on my keyboard, and that's going to create a black layer mask. So now that we basically made an effect to the image, and it's done nothing yet. We have to paint in our effect. So we're going to go back over here to our Actions panel, and I'm going to stop my action, and now we have our teeth whitening effect. So I'm going to save this for later, and I can show you what that does after we paint in the effect to the teeth here. So now to actually paint in the effect on the teeth, we're going to click on our layer mask. We're going to go over here to our brush. We're going to make sure our brush is a white brush right here. And for our hardness, let's go to about 50. And then we can play with the size of the brush using the left and right bracket keys on your keyboard. That's a brush shortcut there. And now what I'm going to do is just paint in the effect. Now you're going to notice that when I paint in the effect, it's going to be very heavy. It's going to, it's very, very white, very unrealistic. Some people will actually make a selection around the teeth, so it's a little bit cleaner and neater. But with this method, it kind of blends in a little bit easier. So we can just kind of freehand it here, and all I'm doing is just going over the teeth very quickly. You can get these back ones back here. There we go. And when you apply these effects on the teeth here, no matter what you're doing on whether it's a person who has already bright white teeth and you want to brighten them up a little bit, or someone with very, very discolored teeth, you're gonna have to adjust it a little bit after you apply the effect. So this is the bright and whitened teeth. Obviously that's way too much, but what we can do to lessen that a little bit is we got a couple options here. We can take the opacity, and that'll start blending in the natural color of the teeth while still keeping it white. So right there, we'll go back up a little bit. And we want to make it sure it just looks natural. So this was actually the before, this was the after. So that actually looks pretty good. So we can bring that all the way back up to 100, or we can go open our folder here and go into the levels, and we can play with the levels here. We can see we can brighten it up. We can take the white point back up and get a little bit more gray. You see we got a couple options you can play with, but for the most part, this is the effect that you really want. I personally like the effect of just kind of taking the opacity down and blending it in. It looks a lot more natural. And if we wanted to, since this yellow balloon here, that obviously doesn't help our image, we can actually click on the hue saturation here and just take the saturation all the way down, and now we have basically bright white teeth, and we can also play with the lightness here as well. So that is the effect. That's exactly how you paint it in. So I'm going to show you what the action does here. I'm going to delete the adjustments that we made. So now we're back to normal. And now we go up to our little teeth action that we created. Now all we have to do is click the play button. And you can see we're back where we started here with the teeth adjustment layer. And now again, all we have to do is paint that in just like we were doing before. So very easy shortcut, very easy action to create. And in the case you, in the future, need to brighten somebody's teeth real quick, this is a perfect way to do it, down and dirty way to do it. So hope you guys enjoyed that Photoshop tutorial on how to brighten teeth while also making an action for it to make it really simple for you in the future. So this has been Jordan from Sleeklens, and we'll see you in the next video.